Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to round two of the 4 Power 2 Balance tournament, our inaugural Sins 2 tournament. I'm Karaslegacy, your host today, as we kick it off for the exciting best of three action. This is game number one. In the north, we have the two TEC brothers. We have Fruitwing and Phoenix representing Team Panda. And in the south side, we have Avi playing the Vasari, Koi playing the Avid. We have Team Suneaters. So if you're just tuning in recently, you may notice a few changes to the map and to the colorations, and I'll go ahead and explain that a bit. This is version 1.3 of the system. This just came out in the test version of the game, and tournament rules stated that the teams are allowed to utilize the test server for their games if by gentleman's agreement they decide that they want to play on that new map. So both teams have agreed to it. They are playing on the test server, in which case we have action today on the latest version of Sins 2, and we'll be talking about that as we play today. The first thing I'll note, you'll see right in the middle here, we have some new map features that will start coming up on the various maps we're playing. This is a wonderful black hole in the middle here. And the black hole's job, if you look here, it basically slows everything down. It's just a big time stop for a lot of abilities, except for movement speed. Now, what's interesting about the black hole is its effect does not exist just in the space. It actually exists in the areas around it. What I don't know is how far that reaches, whether that's one jump or multiple jumps. If it's two or more, we actually might see that be a factor in our game today, as, for example, this system right here, or even these systems right here, could be impacted by the black hole. So that could be, we might see that new feature kick off for us in this game. So talking about the patch, the first thing to note is the game as a whole is faster. Speeds across the board for pretty much every unit have been increased. So as you're watching, it is not that I've increased the speed of the replay or anything. Movement speed is simply quicker across the board. The other big notable change is the TEC and Advent players, their homeworld got a lot of new free levels. So you'll note here that the homeworld right here for Fruitwing is already completely filled up with commerce and mining. They now get a free level of defense and every level of commerce and mining except the very last one. So the Advent player gets something similar for theirs as well. And the Vasari do get a free level of defense, but they don't get any other benefits. What this means is the TEC and Advent players, their ecos are now significantly faster than they were in the last version. Where historically the Vasari were considered kind of the rush race, they're the ones that had the very fast start. Now the TC and Advent players have, depending on what race you play, have either kind of caught up, closed that gap a bit, or have completely eliminated the Vasari advantage, and now Vasari are completely trash. Again, depending on your preference and what particular race you play. So let's dig in. It looks like we already see some interesting action from Koi over here, so let's take a look. Koi is opened up with Rapture, a pretty classic opener, and has decided to actually take the siege frigates using the Rapture ability Domination. So this allows the Rapture to do some very quick colonization. You can see Koi is basically just out expanded everybody on the map so far. He's using that Rapture's Dominate to take out the key siege frigates and just moving past them. It's interesting, sometimes Koi will do that, sometimes he'll use it to acquire other ships that he thinks is going to be more powerful. But it looks like Koi is trying for the fastest possible rush he can in this circumstance, and is therefore decided to go with the siege frigates. Other than that, taking a look at Avi. Avi is also starting to expand out, but it looks like Avi is going to get stuck right here. So Avi is having to deal with the Aluxians, and with the Aluxians being right there, this could be a major factor in the skirmish between him and Fruitwing. We may see this become a major battle point or potentially a buffer for one of the other for one of the others. Meanwhile, on the north side, let's take a look at Phoenix. Phoenix is opened up with an Aachen battleship. This is, I think, a risky play on this map. Scrambler is a decently tight map. It's not the fastest rush distance. You see 1, 2, 3, 4. It's at a 5 jump distance to the homeworld per side. But while the Aachen can be a great economic ship, it is not the best capital ship for early combat. And I'll be curious to see if that has a real impact to Phoenix's ability to apply pressure. So we already have the first battle underway. Koi has just brought in the Rapture with very little else. It has started factory production. We see just Cobalts listed here. While the Cobalts are faster in the patch, and they're a little bit more maneuverable in terms of their turn rate, they're still pretty much the same ships they have been and aren't going to be able to do much against a capital ship this early. So unless Phoenix commits a little bit more forces, I think Koi is going to be able to hold this pretty easily. Meanwhile, on the left side, we can see that Avi is slowly taking back this world from the Aluxians. And curious, where is... Okay, and he's got his evacuator, or egg, as a lot of people call it, so you'll hear me call it that as well. Looks like he is trying to double expand right now and take over these 2 planets. Meanwhile, we have... Okay, so Fruit Ring is opening with a coal battleship, which is a bit more of a traditional opener on these kind of rush maps. But no Mars Duck, which is interesting. So one thing we may see, and one change from the version in the new patch, the PD point defense or anti-missile capabilities of several ships was improved. And actually, we'll get back to that in just a second. It looks like, yes, we do see Phoenix trying to make a push here. Now bringing in a coal alongside the Aachen. This may be enough pressure to push Koi back. We'll have to see. So this is one of the impacts of the newest version. This is a 12-minute 2 capital ship timing with extra Cobalts. This used to be extremely difficult for the TEC to pull off with their previous eco. But now bringing out this double capital ship is becoming meta in the new version. And yeah, it's creating a bit of a struggle for some players. TEC is able to exert a lot more pressure than they once were. So we see Phoenix continuing. It looks like he is going heavy Cobalts. Let's take a look. Okay, yeah, it looks like we have a 3 light factory opening with Cobalts, so this is going to be a pretty aggressive Cobalt play. Be curious to see. He's opened up with just basic 1-1 tech. And it looks like it's going to be a 2 capital ship, pretty heavy Cobalt pressure. We'll see if Koi can counter. Koi is almost certainly up, building up Tempest, which in good numbers are going to counter these Cobalts pretty strongly, especially in this kind of scenario. This is what you never want to have happen with Tempest. Tempests are good to begin with, but if you are chasing them and they are just running away and getting to fire at you, they will chew you up quickly. So all right, we have the 2 capital ships. The Tempests are going to be able to take out these Cobalts without little issue. But the 2 capital ships may be a real problem. We'll see where that goes. Meanwhile, Avi is continuing to deal with the Aluxian presence. While his capital ship is in little danger of these presence, he's also killing this very slowly. And so he is just ecoing up, doing what he can to kind of establish this territory and hold it from the Aluxians. So let's get back to our action here. All right, yeah. Koi is just steadily whittling down the Cobalts using the Tempest. That's the right plan. While the Tempest can do okay damage against the capital ships, they're much better against the light ships. A common mistake that I see newer Advent players make in these kind of scenarios is they will focus their Tempest on the capital ship, wanting to try and take it out. The problem with that is, against experienced players, one, the Tempests do very little damage, and it will take a long time to whittle down the capital. But veteran players are smart enough to just run their capital when it's time, and the Tempests do not have enough strength to finish them off. So what will happen is the Tempests consume a huge amount of time whittling down a ship that ultimately runs away, heals up, and you've done effectively nothing, while all the while your Tempests get beat up by other ships. All right, so far this pressure is looking mighty good from Phoenix. This 2 capital Cobalt opener is working quite well. We'll see. Let's see how Koi is intending to counter. All right, Koi has already put in tier 2. We're getting a higher fleet supply built up as Koi is focused a little bit economically on the influence, going with the Eluxian's opener. This will allow him to place some of these Eluxian advisors on several of his worlds, which will give him a credit advantage. And then if we take a look, so we do see at least one light factory built on the desert world. That's mainly for Tempest production, but otherwise this is pretty light production. So Koi is not well suited for a major push or offensive right now, and Phoenix really might take him by surprise in this fight. Meanwhile, it looks like Phoenix is also kicked off to tier 2. We see the Gang of Freebooters, which is one of the better techs for the TEC primacy. It gives you a large amount of pirates in short order. It's a great reinforcement tool to either reinforce a rush or possibly to help colonize some of these other worlds that Phoenix has left in the rush. So we'll see what he decides to do with it on Freebooters. All right, so the siege continues. Meanwhile, all right, looks like Fruit Wing is joining the party. All right, Fruit Wing has already opened up with the freebooters. You can see them here. So he's trickling those in, and now is going for the other primacy key tech at this point, the Center for Human Indoctrination. For newer TEC players, a common mistake that I see from them, this is one of the stronger techs for primacy faction. This gives you both speed and damage in a system one jump away. This can change battles. The speed, ability to maneuver around, the ability to run your capitals when they're getting hurt, and that extra 10% damage can hugely improve your battle performance. I find that a lot of TEC players, especially newer primacy players, get this very late, and it is one of the better techs for the primacy team. You really want to get that and push on that early. All right, looks like Koi was finally able to repel some of this fleet with a large force. All right, so we can see that Phoenix over here has now added in 4 total ships. He's got his freebooters and then just a smattering of Cobalts. He's not pushing the Cobalts any further, which makes sense. This amount of Tempest is just going to hard counter them. Meanwhile, Koi has managed, he is now up to 3 Raptures and a large complement of Tempest. So this is a good counter fleet to what Phoenix has done on the rush. And so far it looks like Koi is able to start pushing pressure back. But some key damage was done. Koi lost 3 planets in that push, so I think Phoenix is going to be pretty happy with that result. Meanwhile, looking back over here, we can now see that Avi is taking a good amount of damage. We have 3 capital opener here with the freebooters. Let's see if Fruit Wing is bringing anything else to bear right there. Yep, so just mainly capitals at this point, a smattering of Cobalts, and then the freebooters to apply pressure. You can see that Fruit Wing is looking, has gotten, again, those key primacy techs online, and is now augmenting the fleet supply, likely going to push even harder on this play. So again, just noting here, this is the Human Percenter Indoctrination. You want to put that, pretty much every jump that you make as you push down here, you want to lie that building. It will dramatically improve your gameplay. All right, the action continues as we go back and forth here. So Koi was able to push. Oh, I spoke too soon. It looks like, yeah, it looks like Phoenix has made another push here, really relying on the strength of these capital ships. Again, the Cobalts here are just cannon fodder. They're really just here to kind of soak a little damage, deal a little damage, but the Tempests are going to clean this up pretty handily. Now Phoenix might be in a little bit of trouble here. This is a strong fleet. Yeah, Phoenix is going to have to run from this. This Cobalt is likely going to get out without issues as he continues to dive. It looks like this Akin will take out this this planet. And once again, Koi is going to lose another world here. So this pressure is working very well. Meanwhile, Fruitwing continues his offensive, and Avi is once again getting pushed back. Now, something to note up here. Yep, it looks like the Aluxians have changed targets, and they are actually going to take out one of Fruitwing's planets here. Fruitwing does have level 1 with the Aluxians and can start building up to level 2, but that is a long way away. So this is going to be a problem. This is going to cut off Fruitwing's supply lines and hinder his efforts to continue this push. So that may actually be a saving grace for Avi here in the future. All right, we see a push here. We see a 3-on-3 capital action. Marsda versus the Devastator. Marsda is going to have to run first. The Devastator damage is, or Desolator damage is pretty strong. But the cold may be up. That's a problem. Fruitwing has not yet activated an ability for the cold. That's a bit of damage lost there. That would be a big factor. So is the Marsda going to run here? Is it actually going to sit here and try to soak damage? Yep, it looks like Fruitwing has won this battle, and Avi has been forced to retreat. One thing to note here, this is a very nice asteroid world. We have one with a lot of extra military and civilian slots. With defense, in fact, you may not even realize it because he's adding defense slots already. But this asteroid can be well fortified. This can really be a good stopping point. And I apologize, it looks like Fruitwing is moving so fast, I'm not keeping up here. We see Fruitwing is now assaulting Avi's homeworld. Is now moving into Hoshinko and Kalos, which, again, this is a standard follow-up for the TEC. Hoshinkos are an essential part of TEC gameplay. Again, if you're trying to improve your play, a very common mistake new players make, they do not build enough Hoshinkos, and they do not build them early enough. The Hoshinko healing is essential to smart, solid TEC play. You get noticeably stronger with them included. All right, Avi is trying to battle back here, now having 4 Vasari capital ships in tow. Avi is working on his tier 2 Vasari techs. Does he have? Okay, he does have regenerative shielding. This is a key tech for the Vasari. Apologies for that. That's a key tech for the Vasari. Their shield's constantly regenerating, gives them a notable advantage there. All right, we see a back and forth action as now Koi's Raptures are finally able to pierce this world and start getting some momentum back. But at the same time, we see Phoenix has a small squadron of Pillagers. Now, one notable nerf that did happen in the new version is the Pillager speed was one of the few ships that was actually slowed when everything else was sped up. They are now the same speed as the Krosef siege frigate. That is a fairly big difference and does matter when you're trying to send these across the world. All right, we do see that Fruitwing is continuing this push, and unless Avi's got a miracle fleet about to jump out here, I think he is going to lose this homeworld. Yep, he's doing some damage on these ships. He might. These defensors, I don't know if they have enough. It's going to be down to the wire as the defensors try to take it out, but it looks like the coal is going to get away. But will the defensors chase? Will they try to take it out? Yep, the defensors are trying to engage. We'll see if they're able to push. And I feel like I missed something because I could have sworn that that coal actually made it out. Let's take a look. Okay, I think that coal must have died in mid-flight, so I'm not seeing it anymore. But even if with a coal under destruction, it does not matter. Avi has lost his homeworld, and is taking a huge amount of pressure down here. This is becoming a real problem. All right, we can see that Fruit Wing is continuing build up tier 2 tech. Take a look at the production. Okay, we can now see a few more light factories and some heavy factories online as well, primarily for the Hishinko. We've got a Sova now online, and it looks like we are building up Caleb and Hishinko production. So this is to basically silence Avi's caps and destroy them for good. Meanwhile, Koi is mustering. Yep, we have pure Rapture Tempest at this point. And Koi is tired of being pushed back by TC forces and is going for the throat. We've got about 3 capitals and a large amount of kobolds versus this fleet. I think Koi is going to have this one. Unless the TC has some reinforcements somewhere else. Yeah, it looks like the TC has not kept up enough with the Advent's production. Koi has now been able to put together a pretty commanding fleet and is likely. I don't know if he's going to have enough time to siege this homeworld, but I don't think Phoenix has enough here to push this back. We do see a new Dunov operational, so we do have to respect that there is a lot of capitals for the TEC. That will be a factor here, but this is 42 Tempest is a sizable number. This can start doing some real damage. Phoenix is also upgraded to tier 3 and is started to research the pirate bases. Pirates did receive, I mentioned the pillagers earlier. The only other change to the pirates, which may surprise some people, I know a lot of people were wondering if pirates would see a significant nerf or not. The only change is that the amount of pillagers generated, the siege craft for the pirates, is now gone down in favor of other pirate units when a block of pirates is generated. So that is both a buff and a nerf. It means that there's less pillagers to do, siege shenanigans, which is annoying to a lot of people. But it also means that you have more combat units with each use of pirates. So a bit of a give and take here. But we see it looks like Phoenix is trying to pressure this Rapture, but this is good play from Koi. Koi is just bouncing this Rapture around, letting it soak damage, all the while the Tempests are just going to work. The Tempests are just sitting here doing a ton of damage. Now the question is Koi going to be able to keep this ship alive? Shield Burst is going to kick in. It is crippled, but the Shield Burst is likely going to keep it steady, and I think this ship's going to make it out. Meanwhile, we do see Koi maintaining a lot in terms of shield batteries. All right, now it comes down to the wire. The shields are down. 40 seconds to the burst. There's no way it's going to make that burst in time. It's all a question of the jump. Then the ship jump out quick. Now it's going to be right at the edge, and I think for the second time this game, we have had a ship die in mid-transit. That's a major blow for Koi. That was his level 5 Rapture. That is a key part of his offensive strategy. That's a big hit. And it looks like the TC player is willing to pull back for a moment after enjoying that little victory. We'll see if Koi continues the siege or if he decides he needs to pull back. But yeah, these Kobolds are really just not doing anything at this point. I think Phoenix is trying to buy time to get to his pirate bases. If this gets online, he's got 2 bases worth of exotics here ready to go. This could give him a massive reinforcement fleet. Meanwhile, back down south, we can see that Ashley continues heating up as Avi's little hit squad of capitals, but is now dealing with a decent number of Kalos. About 27 Kalos is not like a massive insta-death squad, but this will put real pressure on these Vistari caps. Combined with a mixed fleet and the Gardas to help fend off the defensors, this is not going to go well for Avi. I think Avi is going to have to pull out of here. This Marauder is going to make it, or is he going to die in transit like everything else? Nope. Sorry, regen at the ready. That ship makes it out. It looks like Yeah, it looks like Fruitwing is not going to pursue it, which makes sense. He's dominating this area, and he wants to just keep up the pressure. The Caliph force is doing wonders, putting pressure on the capitals. Now, these defensors do not have a huge amount of counters here. Well, we do see some radiation bombs. Never mind for. So these defensors have to be careful. If the if the radiation bombs continue like this, that will start to whittle down the defensors. But realistically, with Hishinko healing, Halos really don't take that much damage from defensors. This amount of defensors is not going to do a huge amount of damage to this fleet. Certainly not in time to save it from these payloads going to work. All right, going back on the right side, it looks like the back and forth continues again, but now we have a new twist here. We can see that Koi has decided to pull back from the homeworld and is now whittling his way through some of the key planets up north. The Aluxians had managed to capture this middle world, and this could actually be an interesting reprieve between the two. This might create a buffer zone that the two decide not to engage in right away. Koi is reinforcing with Irradiance, and now bringing the Guardians online. So the Guardians are a huge buff to the Advent fleet, but Koi is pretty beat up here. I mean, his planets have been knocked out several times. Not looking the strongest. But we can see, let's see. Okay, it does look like Phoenix has gotten his pirate bases. He does have his 2 pirate bases online. And it looks like, yes, he is going to start reinforcing with now 2 pirate bases. That should be a good and strong reinforcement. Back over on the left side, the Caliphs continue to whittle down on the Visari capital ships. Avi's doing a good job having them soak damage and staying alive, but at the end of the day, this fleet really just cannot contest the might of the TEC in this current measure. This amount of defensors is a nice little warning deterrent, but it's not enough to really whittle down defensors with Hishinko healing. Especially with the number of caps here utilizing R-bombs. So one thing we'll note here is it looks like Phoenix has lost his T3 technology. That might cost him here in a bit. And it looks like Koi is changing tactics, and I love this. This is a great play. So Koi, realizing that Fruitwing has committed pretty much all of his forces down south against Avi, has decided to switch dance partners and is now pushing over here Fruitwing's territory and may go for the homeworld here in a moment. Meanwhile, Phoenix is working to retake his top world, but this is a good distraction, giving Koi a chance to start digging out and taking out some of this territory over here. All right, let's see where Fruitwing is at. Fruitwing still remains on T2. We could see supply-wise, yeah, with 4 capitals still focused on the Kalos with a bit of Hishinko support. Has also focused on the Aluxians, has level 2 for the peace if the Aluxians continue to be a problem. Avi, meanwhile, is still focused on T2, but has a lot more influence than pretty much everyone else, as you would expect from the Visari Alliance player. And looks like he's making his way all the way into the high-level Aluxian measure right now. All right, Avi is making a push here, trying to take back his territory. So it looks like, yep, Koi's strategy is working well. He has completely forced Fruitwing's forces back. This is giving Avi a chance to reintegrate his territory, take back his lost planets, reinforce, and catch a breath. We do see it looks like Koi also has a small scatter fleet here, just meant to kind of take back the core plans down here. Now the question mark will be, what will Phoenix do? Will Phoenix attempt to push again further south, or potentially double back to help his ally? It looks like Koi is making some excellent progress on this homeworld, and Looking at Fruitwing's forces, I'm not seeing enough from Fruitwing to really contest this. So we may see another homeworld go down here in short order. Looks like Avi is still continuing the defensor play. This is a reasonable play from Avi. He's seeing a large amount of Caleb's. He has seen a decent amount of capital ships. The defensors in large enough numbers can be a real thorn in people's sides. They're fast. They can take out these structures. They can get in your face, and they can just melt away when they're not needed. So Avi is probably going to use this as kind of a distraction force, buying time while Koi continues to do his work. All right, we do see Fruitwing is finally mustering the core of his force, and we'll see if he's able to push and take over this homeworld. Koi has managed to remove all of this infrastructure from the homeworld, so it's now just a question of can he make that final push. Okay, Phoenix has decided to continue pushing south. Once again, re-engaging with a good contingent of capital ships, and what now we're seeing, while he still has a lot of drum of kobolds, the pirates are now starting to take the forward fray. We have 2 pirates online. I think that's all the pirate bases right now. All right, Avi is engaging with these defensors now. The pirate rogue is a decent ship at taking out defensors, but yeah, this is a problem. Phoenix does not have any radiation bombs, so pretty much all he has is a smattering. The Coals have a decent amount of anti-light damage, and the rogues do as well. But Avi may be able to do some work here with these ships. We'll see. All right, let's take a look back at Koi. This is a low-tier game. We are 54 minutes in this game, and this has been non-stop action. Normally, a lot of times players are trying to get to Titan Tech by now, but we're still at T2 for pretty much everyone. It just shows the amount of action back and forth we've seen. All right, Phoenix is trying to go for the throat here again. While kobolds sometimes get a bad rap for being a very kind of a weak ship in general, they're not the best ship to mask. They can be great reinforcement ships when you're trying to apply pressure to an enemy you already have all the rows. This amount of kobolds is a real threat. Combine this with the other capitals, yeah, Avi's not going to be able to hold on to this system, and it looks like Phoenix is going to reinforce. Looks like Phoenix has continued to be our highest tier tech player at tier 3, but has just used it for the pirates. There's still a lot of techs here that Phoenix is not utilizing. Again, really needs to get that human doctrination online. Does have Warp Chest online. That's a great tech with all this back and forth sieging. Every time he does siege damage, he's also getting credits for it. So that is a big advantage for the TEC and these kind of back and forth planet war. All right, Avi's continuing to run. The ship is crippled, but I think it should make it out. However, one thing we do see, yep, it looks like Phoenix does have quick jump calculations, so this TC force is not slow. And yeah, Avi's under real pressure. I do not think this Devastator is going to make it. He's going to try to jump out one more time, but no, there's no way that ship is toast. Or did I misspeak? And just like that, just as I was about to say that, it looks like Phoenix has given him a slight reprieve. But I think it was just for show. The Mercy was just for show, and the Devastator is now taken out. All right, Phoenix is continuing one of the last big primacy techs here, Savage Thrill. This is a huge offensive buff for the primacy once it's online. And with that in mind, Phoenix will have all the big primacy toys starting to really pay off. Avi really needs to run from this fleet. This is way too much for just 3 capitals to be dealing with. Like, it looks like he is just trying to buy some time, but As good as the starter regen is, it is not that good. Yeah, and he's gonna lose his Marauder as well. Yeah, these capitals need to get the heck out of Dodge right now. Meanwhile, it looks like Koi has been able to stabilize on his side. He has regained a lot of his key worlds, utilizing the Luxian middle ground here as kind of a buffer zone to protect his own worlds, while continuing to dance around and do damage up north. We still have the 3 Rapture with a large amount of Tempest Squad. I think one of Koi's key strats here is to try to get one of the Raptures to level 6. Malice is still one of the strongest ults in the game, and can certainly be a game changer in these kind of engagements. So we may see that become a real factor. All right, Phoenix is going for the throat here as Avi continues to engage, but again, Avi is going to have to continue to run from these forces. While his ships heal fast, this is a ton of damage. Yep, Avi's just slowly trying to do what he can, but it is... Phoenix is really pushing for the throat here. The One Reprieve might actually, again, the Alexians are a major player in this game. They are really putting a thorn in both player sides. You can see here the Alexians are just doing damage, being annoying, taking over this world. Pretty much meddling with everybody, so at least they're equal opportunity. Choice word that I shouldn't speak online. All right, Avi's trying to reduce, and another Devastator bites the dust. Let's see where that puts Avi right now. Avi's still at 430 fleet supply. Yeah, he is not he's not regenerating his capital ships. He is focusing purely on defensors at this point. Is that the right strategy? The other problem is they do okay against the Corsairs, and the Kobolds. I could see it. With enough defensors, you can really start to put a dent here, but it's going to take more than 50. Avi's got some work to do to build up enough forces to really get that in play. All right, we can see this is the pirate base is really starting to pay off. Phoenix has put in play 8 of his pillager ships, and they are now this small fleet is going to do some work on putting pressure on Koi. Again, the goal is not to kill ships, it's just to take out planets, it's just to be annoying, it's just to keep Koi pulled back and occupied, allowing Fruitwing and Phoenix to kind of continue pressuring in the middle. All right, over here we see a complete pullback from Avi as Phoenix continues the southern assault. Taking a look at the tech scenario, Avi has lost a lot of his techs. Still has not managed to really push into T4. Avi loves to use raids to try and help reinforce fleets, but just simply has not had the opportunity to build that up. And Phoenix is now going for the throat. Looks like Phoenix has taken a lot of damage as well from Koi's shenanigans over in the north side. So did not manage to kick in some of the last key techs. So that will slow down the siege a bit, but at the end of the day, it's probably not going to matter. Avi simply does not have enough forces to pull this off. And Koi is simply too far away to really aid in that endeavor. All right, so it looks like Phoenix is trying to kind of fortify this area, really put the final notes here. And again, remember, this area has a large amount of civilian and military slots innately. So this asteroid you can really build up if you're willing to take some time on that. We also see a third military pirate base has been put here. That will again allow Phoenix to reinforce this quite quickly. Up north, we can see that Fruitwing has taken the time to clear some of Koi's annoyances up top, although Koi does still have several planets up north. And Koi has switched to siege shenanigans as well. You know what they say, if you can't beat them, siege them. So Koi's got several purge ship vessels going on, and he's going to take out this world. And it looks like he is again going for that homeworld. That homeworld has been taken out once already by purge ships, and is going to take another hit here in just a moment. Now remember, I mentioned at the beginning that the TC homeworld now gets a number of free levels when you start the game, but you do not get those when you recolonize the homeworld. So not only do you killing a TC homeworld, not only do you kill all the resources, you kill all the free levels, and you kill the extra special human doctrine. It's losing a TC homeworld can be very crippling at times. All right, but it looks like Fruitwing is paying attention. Does have a decent Kobold force here, and that should be able to clean up these purge vessels without issue. For you TC players out there, Kobolds are actually a really good ship to counter siegecraft. So if you get into these scenarios where you have an enemy trying to do a bunch of these like little siege shenanigans, building up a small force of Kobolds, actually they are very fast now. They do good damage to siege vessels, and they can just chase them down and take them out. So it's often a good idea to kind of keep a small contingent of Kobolds in the background if you're starting to see a bunch of siege play like that. All right, so while the Kobolds were here, this world was already so damaged that it looks like Koi's attack was enough. And once again, Fruitwing has lost his homeworld. So while the North team is putting on a lot of pressure, Koi is keeping the Suneaters alive with these northern harassments and these northern shenanigans. But let's see what's going down south. All right, Koi is rejoined with his ally Avi, and okay, the defensor numbers are now at 100. Suddenly, and this is how defensors can get sneaky. You know, when they're in the 40 to 50 level, it's really not a big deal. You're just kind of there. They don't do a lot of damage. They're just kind of annoying. But once you get into the 100+ range, suddenly these guys are doing some real damage. And if you have not built the appropriate counters for defensors, you can find yourself effectively completely unable to stop them. And that's what we're seeing now from Phoenix. Phoenix has no radiation bombs. He has no guard of flak vessels. These Kobolds are painfully vulnerable to defensors. And so, yeah, Phoenix has nothing here that really can stop a defensor ball, not to mention then the large amount of capital ships that Koi has brought with him. So this may be a good opportunity to finally do some real damage to Phoenix after all this time. But as we've seen in this game, no push goes without the Aluxians throwing in their own personal opinion on the matter. And once again, it looks like Koi is going to take some punishment here. Now, Koi has started to get some experience up here. Still does not have tier 2 Aluxians, so he's likely going to lose this world. Has a ton of Aluxian advisors he needs to use. But, oh, look at this. We have the Resilient Metalloids Artifact. This is a monstrously good item for keeping especially, you can use it on a capital ship, but most of the time you want to put it on a Titan. I don't know if this game is going to go to Titans, but it's likely Koi is going to save that for that rainy day. The only other possibility, he might consider it for a level 6 Rapture, just because Malice is so powerful, and because any level 6 Rapture is going to get targeted with extreme prejudice by the other team. So he might consider it when a Rapture gets level 6 in order to keep it alive. We'll see. We'll see what he decides to do with that. All right, for the first time in this game, Avi and Koi have managed to kind of combine forces. But at the same time, Fruitwing and Phoenix have combined their own. We've got about 1,000 fleet supply versus, about maybe 1,000 and change. So fairly even fleets right now. Koi is still continuing a heavy Rapture and Tempest production. Avi with his defensors. And then we see on the north side here, we are starting to see a smattering of Gardas put online, but that amount of Gardas is really not enough. A common misconception that people have about black frigates in general, especially the Garda, is when they hear it is a counter to ships like the Defensor, they think, oh, I could have like 10 Garda and they'll do really well against this massive ball of Defensors. And that is simply not true. While Gardas can ultimately counter Defensors, you still have to have a near equal supply number of Gardas against the Defensors. If you have half the supply of Garda as they have Defensors, your entire Garda line will get destroyed, will get mowed to pieces. But if you have near equal supply, suddenly your Garda fleet will wipe the Defensors out without losing a lot of ships. It's very swingy that way, and it's a mistake a lot of newer players make, is they just don't realize how thin that margin is, and so sometimes they'll throw a lot of Gardas at a problem and just wind up dying, and they don't understand what happened. All right, the chasing game begins. So let's look at the map and see how things are looking here. Okay, so Avi has lost all of his backyard territory. We see that Koi has been able to fill in some of it. Fruit Wing is still got a good smattering up here. We see Koi still has one world up here, but it looks like some pillagers are here to clean it up. So in short order, I believe the Panda team will have reestablished dominion over the north side. The Aluxians continue to do Aluxian things. And looks like we have a small break in the action. And as I say that, I'm wrong, for it looks like we actually have a massive battle here about to begin. All right, so we do have a level 6 Akin from Phoenix. He might choose to use it in this battle, but I think he's gonna work with this. We have the Caleb forces here. The Caleb forces are going to be clutch here. We'll see. The Calebs are starting to target the Radiance. They are likely going to shut it out in short order. Yep. Radiance has already been taken out. It's already clean. None of the Raptors are anywhere close to 6, so that's going to be a problem. These Defensors are going to do work, but it's going to take time. The Defensors work best when they have time to operate. In this kind of battle where, now they are going to start killing these Calebs decently quick, but it is still going to take some time. Meanwhile, the Calebs are starting to chew through Koi's capital vessels. Don't forget, Phoenix does have an armistice ready to go at any time here, so if the battle does start turning against Phoenix, he can always turn on the peace juice and stop this battle cold. So yeah, Avi is pulling back. Oh, the Aluxians are deciding to play. I think this was a smart strategy from the Suneaters here. 2 TCs with a large amount of Calebs like this. This is a hard nut to crack. So they're going to pull back. They're going to let Panda team here deal with a lot of these Aluxian ships. We'll see if Panda decides to pursue. They do. Obvious hightailing into the south, leaving Koi potentially vulnerable here in the middle asteroid. We do have these Aluxian ships have gotten some pot shots off on this mothership. It is now in the hit points. Does get a shield burst off. The Calebs are pursuing. Are they going to have a chance here to get enough pressure to actually do damage on this ship? It's gonna. All right, the mothership gets away without too much damage. But again, we can see one of the big vulnerabilities of Advent is they do not have fast jump speed, and now the TEC is able to push quickly through hyperspace and is outpacing these ships. This mothership is in real trouble. The Caleb's gonna line. This thing is likely going to be dead here momentarily. The real question is, are they going to be able to bag 2 ships? All right, first mothership is down. Looks like Koi is decided to sacrifice this second mothership here, see if it can drag off the fleet while the rest of the fleet runs. I think this makes sense. Koi recognized that this mothership was highly unlikely to survive that rundown with all those Calebs. By doing this, it pulls the Calebs off path and allows the rest of his fleet some much-needed time to escape. So that was a big sacrifice, but I think it was a very smart play from Koi. A lesser player would have just kept trying to run, desperately hoping to save their fleet, and might not have just lost that ship, but another capital as well in the pursuit. All right, looks like Boy's going to take a moment to deal some damage here. Got some nice chance to kill out some of these kobolds, but with the rest of the fleet advancing, he is now going to go ahead and run away. Let's look at the right side. All right, we see the Panda team is building up on the Aluxian world here. Okay, no one is stopping. No one is stopping to deal with the Aluxians. Who cares about them? So the Aluxians will continue to be a pest here, to be a bit of an issue, but the Panda team is going to continue their aggressive maneuvers. And I wanted to check while we're looking. Let's look at the asteroid belts over here. So one thing we're not seeing from Fruitwing, because he has absolutely no tech. Yeah, we don't see any pirate bases here, and that's and that's a concern point. Pirate bases are real good. I'm sure the two teams are just scrambling right now, continuing to fight. But one thing they might consider is actually gifting one of these worlds back over to Phoenix, letting him put a pirate base on that. That again will give them even more chance for reinforcement. All right, we have another pursuit. So this is one thing that the new Cobalt, it's important to note here. While all ships have gotten faster, the Cobalts have gotten noticeably so. So even though the Cobalts kind of do a little stutter step when they attack, notice that they keep pace with capital ships a lot better than they used to. So they are really good chasing units now. And in situations like this, it can be hard to run away from them. Always going from the frying pan to the fire here, as is now having to engage over with Fruitwing's forces. Fruitwing does have a Mazda online. That's a problem. Mazda's concussion charge is an excellent stun. Is really great at taking out capital ships that they're trying to run away. And Koi sees the writing on the wall and smartly decides to recall out. So a reminder, Koi is operated the recall ability, pulling his forces over to the Advent homeworld. This both pulls them out of danger and gives them some healing, and again gives Koi a chance. He's done a great job pulling the Panda team back up north, giving Avi some time to kind of. And you can see Avi has done an excellent job here, reestablishing dominion on the entire south side, pretty much regaining all of the missing worlds, and has now gathered a new fleet to start pushing farther north. So again, Koi did an excellent job. This was a distraction technique, forcing the Panda team up north, giving Avi the chance to kind of reestablish and refortify. So let's see what Avi's got to bring to bear here. Avi's still pretty hurting. 400 fleet supply at a minute, hour and a half in the game is a tough cookie. We are dealing no capitals, just a smattering of siegecraft, and then still a decent defensor ball. But the defensors have taken a hit. Defensor balls sub 100 really start getting a noticeable lack compared to when you're getting over that like 100-ish number. Now looking at influence, yeah, it looks like Avi has really not had a chance to reestablish the strong influence, and is still not able to chance to get those key raids online. Taking a look at the items real quick for Koi. I just want to kind of get a feel here. Okay. So Avi currently has no capital ships, and Koi has a large number, but has no ship items whatsoever. He is really focused on fleet supply and other areas. So, meanwhile, let's take a look at the other side. Actually, let's do a fleet supply comparison for a moment. Panda team with 930 fleet supply for Phoenix. We've got 3 capital ships and focusing on pirates and kobolds. 860 fleet supply with, again, a good number of capitals and calebs primarily, versus 400 and about 800 for Koi. Again, mostly a huge number of raptures and still a decent focus on Tempest. So based on pure fleet supply right now in board position, I think Panda is quite clearly in the lead. But the Suneaters have shown some excellent ability to distract, to pull them off course, to pull them out of the fire, and we will see if they're going to continue that, if they can continue to stay alive by doing that. All right, looks like Koi is finally pushing deeper into the T3. Let's take a look at our techs across the board here. Yeah, with some lull in the action, it looks like the teams are starting to finally get their Tier 3 techs online. He's finally getting to that Savage Thrill tech that he's been working on for, I think, about the last 20 minutes. Fruitwing is still a bit behind tech-wise. Still has a lot of work to do there. And then we do see that Avi has opened up his T3 tech, but has not had a chance to really put it to use. Still really hurting from the loss of all those plants earlier. All right, we do see Koi's forces are getting bounced back once again as Phoenix continues to pursue with a huge amount of pirate vessels. Yeah, these 12 Corsairs and these rogues. This is a nice strike fleet. This is going to do some real good work, and this is enough rogues that is going to start becoming a problem for Avi's defensors. Now, by themselves, it's not going to do. There's not going to do much. But with a bit of radiation bomb, which, yes, it looks like we do. Yes, here we go. We finally have that online. For players out there who are still having problems with defensors, I know some players really struggle to deal with defensor balls. This is the key. For TEC, the key is radiation bomb. You place it on top of your fleet. If the defensors want to fight you, they stand the bomb and they start to die. If they run away, well, they're not hurting you, so who cares? And you just want to keep bombing until the fleets are dead or until they run away from you. That plus some good anti-Corvette fleet ships like the Pirate Rogue. As you can see, Avi's defensors were forced to run away. Now, one interesting thing, I think one mistake the Panda team is making, and maybe it's just they don't have a chance for the exotics yet or anything like that, but for a while, we saw Phoenix with 2 pirate bases, even at 3 for a time, and now is down to 1, and that could really start to become a problem if those forces start to deplete. I think that is a mistake to not gift over one of these asteroids over to Phoenix and let them use that pirate base. All right, we see Team Panda making a death push here over to this crystalline world. And one of the things, now I mentioned before that the Akin tends to be a bit weak in the early game, especially in early rushes. But if you can make it all the way to level 6, you're sitting pretty. With the Armistice ability, this gives the Panda team a huge free reign to push in. If they happen to get into a surprise scenario, if they happen to see a new composition that they were surprised and start to counter them, they can just click on the Armistice, pull back, regather. So they're very safe. This allows them to be very bold. They can just continue to push, continue to be aggressive, and feeling confident that if they get to a point that is actually hindering them, they can just click the piece of juice and walk away. All right, Koi, it looks like, is really done with these with these Alexians. I think these Alexians have been the MVPs this game, but the MVP for who is really a question mark. They've just been battling with everybody around here. Meanwhile, all right, we're at 1:40 into this game, and it's still. Well, I would still say Panda definitely has the advantage here, as they're now pushing again further south. This is not over by any stretch. I think we're in it for the long haul, people. We've got plenty more game to play here. All right, it looks like Avi is switching gears, and now is utilizing his defensors with the augment of Raiders. Every non-Visari player's favorite unit in the game. Everybody loves Raiders because they're so much fun. If you don't know, Raiders are excellent raiding units. I know, Crazy, huh? Their claim to fame is Raiders do an exceptional amount of building damage, way more than their regular attack. But beyond that, they also steal resources. Okay, steal is the wrong word. They generate resources. So anytime they attack a building, they actually gain a certain amount of resources from it. So not only do Raiders do damage, they also gain income for the Visari at the same time. So yeah, we see. Okay, so Avi is going for the worlds here. He's got several siegecraft. He's going to use the Raiders to take out structure. He is trying to strip mine this area, and once again probably force Team Panda back. It looks like Team Panda is not falling for it this time, and they are going for Koi's throat. Until now, Koi's backyard has been relatively unscathed. One of the few areas that has had a chance to really stay intact, to continue to research, to continue to reinforce and have good resources. And that may come to an end, although let's take a look. Does Koi does have Sanctify. Only at level 1, but this is still going to be enough to assist, to help hold out this homeworld at least for a certain amount of time. Now, this is a large amount of siegecraft, or with all the capitals. I don't think level 1 Sanctify is going to be enough to hold this off indefinitely, but probably will at least double the amount of time it takes to siege this. Let's see how the Suneaters are going to take or utilize that time. All right, we see Koi is staying in the middle. Koi is now pushing north, likely going after Phoenix's homeworld again. Phoenix is still not measuring any defenses. This is a no turret agreement kind of game. Everybody is just slugging it out. And there we go. We now see the Sanctify ability has been activated. This will give Koi a much needed reprieve. Again, we'll probably likely double the amount of time that this it takes to siege this world. But if he remains at only level 1, yeah, I don't think he'll have enough to keep this world safe more than maybe one more big round of sieging. But that gives Koi some time to finally push north. And he is in striking range of the homeworld. Meanwhile, Avi is also going once again for Fruitwing's homeworld. We've got a good raiding force here, and there is no enemy vessels in sight. So this, as much as Koi's losing Koi's homeworld is going to be a problem, this might still turn out to be okay for the Suneater team, as they may put pressure on not just one, but 2 homeworlds at once. Now, important to note here, Avi has finally reestablished some tech. Is finally getting some of his T2 economic techs. Koi, unfortunately, has pretty much lost all of his tech with the loss of, with the push on the homeworld. So that is going to set Koi back quite a bit. We're still seeing Koi is spending all of his influence here on Alexians, and I get it. You want to spend your influence, but this seems pretty wasteful at this point. I think at this point it'd be better just to kind of wait and look for options and try to get some value there. Phoenix is now comfortably moving into T2 civilian tech to finally get some of those good aspects there. Fruitwing is still pretty tech poor, but is finally, well, is trying to, but his T3 tech got taken out by Avi, so the pirate bases are once again delayed. Koi has lost his homeworld, so at this point, the only fully intact homeworld that has not yet been devastated is Phoenix's. And Koi does not like that particular record and would like to say something about it. I'll take a moment. This is new over here, and I'll just take a moment to note it. The radiation storm here is a new feature of the patch. You'll see this on certain maps, along with the black hole I mentioned. The radiation storm has, and there's a number of new kinds of systems like this. The radiation storm has 2 key features. The first is any battle that takes place in the storm gives 25% more experience. Pretty nice. But the downside is any passive regeneration systems do not operate inside the radiation storm. Now that means that active healing like an Oshinko heal or an item heal will still work, but the natural regeneration will turn off. Especially for Visari, that is a big deal. The Visari rely a lot on their passive regeneration, and so fighting a Visari in the radiation storm is a good idea if you can afford to do it. All right, shenanigans continue in the north side as Avi has cleaned up on the homeworld up north here and is now pushing with his raiding fleet, trying to carve up Phoenix's homeworld. Koi is digging through the middle here, just killing what he can, killing every vessel in sight. And we have a real cluster of a game. Everybody is under threat. Everybody is dead. This is scrappy. Everyone is down to just their last few bases. No one can really put together a true end this game kind of fleet. All right, now let's take a look. We can see the Colony Frontier League was put on the homeworld to both speed up its healing and to give it some health. So 11,000 health there. This homeworld's going to take a while. And it does look like Phoenix is potentially going to move north to try and save his homeworld. Avi only has 4 siege vessels here, and Koi's decided to move away from the homeworld. Phoenix may be able to save this. Yeah, I mean, this is not a lot of damage. Unless Koi decides to aid in this attack, I don't think Phoenix is going to lose the homeworld. Now, he's lost all the infrastructure. He's also lost his pirate bases for the nearby destruction. That's a big deal. But he'll be the only one, in theory, to keep his homeworld intact. That's going to be a very nice resource advantage going into the later game here. All right, let's take a look at see what fleets are we've still have together here. Fruitwing's got 1,000 fleet supply. Again, focused mostly still on Caleb's. We've got a rainbow of capital ships and a good amount of Oshinkos. Basically, a very nice anti-capital force. Phoenix at 1,200 fleet supply. Really still focused on his pirate fleets with a large contingent of kobolds as well. One thing I am curious, do his kobolds That's what I thought. So as much kobold as he has here, he is actually missing a key tech, the frigate shield refit. Shields often get a bad rap on the TEC because they're not armor, and armor for the TEC is so good. But more shields, more good. And considering how many kobolds he has, that's a missing tech that he definitely needs to get. Okay, so Avi has ramped up the amount of siege craft here, and now suddenly this plan is real trouble. And it looks like Phoenix is going to make an attempt, but is just not going to be quick enough. And in short order, and with that, we now have a game where every player has lost their homeworld. In fact, not only have they lost it, we have a game where Koi and Avi have been able to retake their homeworlds. Now, the two homeworlds of the TC Panda players are under enemy occupation, or at least will be in short order. All right, big force here. A lot of these Raptures are still looking good, but none of them have made it level 6 yet. Now, Koi would really love to get one of those to 6. It would be a big help. Meanwhile, this is a good amount of pirates, but looking at the fleet supplies, it's going to be close. I think yes. It looks like, yeah, with the arrival of Avi's vessels, this is what we were talking about earlier. Phoenix wisely decides to utilize the armistice and decides to go ahead and get his vessels out of here. Getting a little squirrel in us. Okay. Something, so this is a bit of a mistake by Phoenix, and this is a common mistake I want to point out to people. When you are using Armistice, it only lasts as long as your Aachen is in play. And what often people will do is they press the panic button and they run their entire fleet away, and then the Aachen will leave, and suddenly all the ships that are still here die. Armistice lasts a long time. People get very nervous about it. Of course, they often kick it in a panic situation, and they want to get that Aachen out as soon as they can. But a better play is to actually leave the Aachen there, let the rest of your fleet come out, and then send the Aachen with the rest of the fleet. And that way, none of your ships get targeted or killed. So a little tip for you guys out there if you're trying to improve your play. All right, so Phoenix took a bit of a hit on that play. And yeah, for once went to 1,200 fleet supplies, now down to 900. That was a nice cut. All right, looking down south. And I apologize. I had said earlier that Koi had retaken his homeworld. I was not correct. Fruit Wing has occupied the Advent homeworld. So I think at this point only Avi has not one, not two, but 3 homeworlds under his purchase. So that's a little bit of a prize after all the beatings that Avi took earlier. All right, we can see that Koi and Avi's just sending the defensors as kind of a little escort fleet to help reinforce Koi's vessel, deal some damage to the structures. Koi is just trying to carve out as much territory in the middle here as he can. The Alexians continue to be fun. Phoenix has no tech at this point whatsoever. All right, so it looks like we have a new staging base being set up here by Phoenix. He's got 4 light factories online. And just taking a look at yeah, I was just about to say, it looks like Phoenix has almost no worlds left. All right, so as good as his fleet is, this is a real problem. Koi and Avi have completely taken over the north side, and almost by magic, where the Panda team was looking so confident and so dominant in the late game, but this combination of just annoying distraction, constant siege presence, never giving up territory, the slowly staking in the face and being annoying has allowed the Suneaters to not only kind of come back in this game, but realistically has started to take the lead. Now, the TEC fleets cannot be underestimated. These are still very strong. They still have 2,000 fleet supply between the two of them, where the Suneaters are only at 1,500. That deficit has to be respected and could still come into play here. The wrong battle could throw the Suneaters back into deficit. But in the long run, if this continues as it is, the Panda team is going to start feeling this. The lack of resources and tech especially is going to start wearing them down. All right. So we see Avi has finally gotten a new Ferris world under his belt. See how Avi's trying to get back up to tier 3. How's the influence looking? Really hasn't changed much, although he did just bag a phase crystallizer from the auction. It's always nice for Visari to get this. Crystal is often such a pain point for the Visari. So any time they can get kind of raw crystal income is useful for them. Now down south, okay, we do see, it looks like Fruit Wing is trying to clean up Avi's homeworld again. Avi does have, a decent amount of health on this, but with 13, that's 13 siege frigates, this is not going to last long. So the game is kind of evolving to this interesting, we have, kind of the two massive forces on both sides kind of sharking around while their little raiding fleets are kind of moving around, continuing to do the real damage of taking out enemy forces. Okay, now we see Avi under some heavy engagement here. The kobolds aren't going to do anything here, but these rogues can do some damage, and it looks like Avi takes a little bit of a hit, but is able to pull out without so much issue. And the raiders are going to continue to work here. Okay, do we finally have? It looks like finally somebody has decided to do something about the Alexians. They have just been back and forth on this belt this whole game, just having fun, just never stopping for anything. All right, so we have on the left side here. Avi's going to lose this new world he's just gathered, but that's all right. At this point, these worlds out here are really just kind of more of a distraction phase. Uh, Avi's got a good, I mean, with these Terran worlds back here, got Volk world, a couple good key plants. So there's a solid eco built up here. So pretty much the worlds in the middle now are really just buffers. They're there solely to ensure that they just try to keep the enemy on their side. So here we go. It looks like we do see the black hole coming into play here. Now, I don't think there's going to be any fights in this world, but you can kind of see the impact the black hole has. And my understanding is that the black hole does impact forces maybe a jump or two away, but I'm not actually seeing that. So that actually may be a misnomer in the description. The description suggests that it does kind of carry a little bit farther away, but I don't think that actually works in mechanics. I don't know if that's intentional or not. Something to ask the dev team at a later time. All right, Koi is pushing on this asteroid over here. This was a major production center for things, so this is a nice little victory for Koi. The Panda team is once again moving north. Finally, the Alexians are getting... and we see Avi even suggesting, are we at the point of a tie? This game is so back and forth with both sides literally just taking each other's territory constantly. But Koi has the fighting spirit, says that they still have this, they can still work towards it, and so the game will continue. One thing to note, Avi here, phase resonance was changed a bit in this version. You can see that it is now focused, the first couple of levels are focused on phase jump speed rather than actual movement, regular movement speed. It's not until level 3 that you start getting speed. So that is a noticeable nerf to the Visari. While phase speed is always useful, I think most players would agree that movement through a system, mobility, is ultimately a lot more of a benefit. So Visari phase resonance, while still quite good, has taken a bit of a nerf in this version. We do see, it looks like Avi has finally stabilized on tier 3, but really has not had a chance to take much advantage of it. He seems to, even just most basic T3 techs has still not been taken. So Avi's doing what he can, but he's struggling. Koi still has that Metalloids, by the way. Still keeping it safe. Still has to debate what he wants to do with it. But here we do have an interesting development. We do see, and I just lost it, I apologize. There it is. Fruit Wings Mars that has gotten to level 6. We do have Missile Barrage. Well, okay. Well, we should in a moment here have Missile Barrage online. Missile Barrage is one of the strongest ultimates in the game, and in the right moment could be devastating to an enemy fleet. That is something we will definitely be watching here in future battles. That is one of those tactics that, if used just right, could be a nail in the coffin against the Suneaters. We can see Team Panda has decided to go on a campaign to retake the north. The Starks will be very proud of them. Avi just continues to get the most annoying player award for this game. I am joking. Siegecraft, while sometimes it gets a bad rap, this is just a key part of the game. Like splitting your enemy's attention into multiple spots, forcing them to engage you where they are weak, is all a part of key gameplay in Cities 2. And ideally, what you need to be doing against these kind of fleets So right now, what you're seeing is the Panda team is basically fortifying their 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 forces together, which is great for sieging the areas and cleaning up areas over here. But what they really need is a strike force. They need a selection of, maybe kobolds. Uh, you can even do like some heavy cruisers, like Arcas, uh, and whose sole job is to go around and hunt for these vessels. Uh, these siege craft, are vulnerable units. They will go down if you dedicate a nice strike force to them. And while that does take away from your main fleet supply, the simple truth is, Panda team has plenty of fleet supply right now. They have more than they need to fight the Suneaters if they were in a head-on engagement. But that's not how they're losing. The Suneaters are focused on these guerrilla tactics, and that's what continues to throw the Panda team off. So in this situation, even though splitting up your force can feel weak, it can make you feel vulnerable, it's the right play to help knock off a lot of these guerrilla tactics. All right, we see the two teams are basically moving back into their respective backyards, and looking like they're going to retake some territory. I'm actually going to speed the game up just a smidge for a moment. As we see the two just kind of spending some time in the backyards, kind of cleaning some things up. We have some chasing of siege units here, and we have some Aluxians just, doing what Aluxians love to do. We're going to kind of run this at speed for a moment, just to kind of let some of this play out. All right. We do see that Fruit Wing is also engaged his own little siegecraft force. So this has literally become a battle of the sieges at this point. And of course the Aluxians. The Aluxians are still trying to win this game themselves, which is why they're just sieging everything in the middle. And heck, I think at this point they may have more plans than any single player, considering how scrappy this game has been. All right, now Avi may lose some of these Terran royalty he's retaken, and that's going to be an issue for him. These are a major, nice source of resources. Losing those is going to be a pain. All right, let's move back to normal speed, and let's see where we stand. All right, looking at the board, we have Koi with absolutely no tech. I cannot remember the last time in a 2-hour game that I saw a player literally with 0 tech and 1,000 fleet supply. Fleet supply wise, all right, we have the Aluxian military observers for a lot of these ships, so great benefit there. As far as other supply, so the focus remains, we're actually shifting now from Raptors into Radiances. Makes sense. They help to keep the Raptors alive. They're good tank units. And then we see a smattering of other vessels, basically units that the Raptors have dominated over time. Meanwhile, Avi has finally managed to put together a real fleet here, getting up to 700 fleet supply. Mainly still focused a good amount of his fleet supply on that raiding force we talked about, and maintaining a decent defensor ball is kind of more of a support for Koi's forces than anything. For the Panda team, Phoenix 800, nearly 900 supply, still mainly with pirates. Also with no tech on their side either. Fruit Wing, no tech, near 1,000 fleet supply. We do see a smattering of capitals, and still maintaining that pretty large Caliph presence. I would venture to say, at least certainly a tournament play, because this is our first tournament, this is definitely the lowest tech game I have ever seen. With 2.5 hours in, every player has been decimated in terms of their tech structure. No one is greater than T3, and even that is a smattering of T3 techs. This is just pure tactics and pure brawny ships. There is no science in this universe. We do not believe in science here. We believe in guns. We believe in missiles. And for the Advent, we believe in shiny shields because shiny is good when it comes to the Advent. Meanwhile, the Alexians, they believe in guns. They believe in a lot of vessels and ships. At this point, considering everything else has been beaten up, the Alexian homeworld is starting to look pretty nice. Be curious to see if that actually comes under real threat at any point in the near future. So, all right, let's. Oh, all right. So we're gonna speed things up a bit as the two sides kind of continue to dance. They're just dancing around each other for the moment, trying to get an advantage, taking out, what worlds they can. And all the while people are taking these worlds, no one's really been spending the effort to fortify them. And because of that, the Alexians just continue to thwart pretty much all the progress that people are making. I think one of the mistakes at this point in the game that I feel both teams are making is everybody is so focused on sieging and taking territory. No one is respecting the idea of maybe fortifying a couple of these choke points, trying to prevent siege raids to go through them, tried to finally stop the Alexian forces from doing these constant shenanigans. Part of that is probably just, no one has tech for star bases, for example, but even basic defenses could go a long way in some of these scrappier battles. All right, let's slow things back down as we might see an actual opener battle here. We got about 20 Tempest versus a smattering of Kobolds. This is not a lot of Tempest. And yeah, Koi is just going to pull them out. And with all four sides basically devastated, this is the mighty dominant fleet of the galaxy. I know we said this was a tournament versus these two teams, but actually at the end of the day, I think this is just a tale of the Alexian resurgence, showcasing their dominance and likely going on a gallivant around this corner of the galaxy, where these two players cower in fear at their might. I think that's really the game we came to watch today, and the Alexians are not disappointing. All right, any change? All right, now we are seeing one thing to note here. Fruitwing was able to gather a couple of corium. There was an auction that took place about 5-10 minutes ago. Was able to bag that corium. Could come into play since tech is so low in this game. No one has had a chance to get into T4 military, not to mention T3's civil tech. So having the 2 corium might give a key edge there for Panda team, letting them focus on military and actually getting to a Titan without needing the necessary civilian tech. So we'll see if that does come into play. I did want to check. Let's look at Koi's. Koi still has a number of these advisors here. Still has not utilized the metalloids. Phoenix, pretty inactive with the influence. Nothing major there. Yep, smattering of text there as well. And then let's take a look at Avi. So, other than getting those military reservists, which is quite useful, we're not really seeing where that Vasari Alliance influence that we all know and love. All right, we're getting a comment from Koyer. I think he's talking about the Aluxians. Uh, oh, how about the turrets here? Ah, there it is. Now I see what Koyer is talking about. Okay. Koy has finally unlocked a possible stalemate breaking weapon with the level 6 Rapture now of activating Malice. And it also has an Aluxian military observer on it, which will mean that that Malice will regenerate even faster. So with that in mind, both teams now have a super weapon online that can really sway the battle. We have the Mazda for Phoenix, its level 6 missile barrage, and then we have Koi's Malice on its level 6 Rapture. When it comes time to the big fight, whoever uses that ability the best could decide one of the key fights and who will take this game. So looking at the map, it looks like the north side has been mostly cleaned up. The homeworlds have been regathered, but the Aluxians are asserting a certain amount of presence there on the north side. Our heroes, the Aluxians, they are retaking the territory from the evils of these other players. Koi, though, is doing a massive fleet push on the from the west side here. Like Koi's been able to bulk up this fleet. Yes, Koi's almost gotten to 1,500 fleet supply. That was a nice push. Still focused mainly on Radiances and Raptures. A lot of Raids, a lot of Raptures, and we have that level 6 Mouse. All right, here we go. First time in a long while, we have a legitimate battle between the two sides. I don't think Koi is going to take this, not 2v1. Keep in mind, we do not see the level 6 Mazda in this battle. Yeah, Koi is just going to run. That's a smart play. There's really no reason to take that fight. Again, the goal here is just to kind of pull these forces back, keep them distracted, let Avi do some work in the middle, continue to take more planets, continue to clean up messes. But okay, this could be a problem. I'm going to actually slow down the replay here so we can watch this in all of its glory. So let's keep in mind, let's keep a watch on the Malice here. That could be a key factor. All right, Koi is deciding to take this. And here is level 6. You can see the entire force is moving to target it. Malice has been activated. And look at that, an excellent counter by Phoenix. This is where Armistice really starts to shine. Wonderful, wonderful play by Phoenix. So what Phoenix did is waited until the Malice was activated and then activated Armistice, preventing Koi from getting any advantage on his use. And by the time Armistice wears off, Malice will already be gone. Malice has a long cooldown time, and that would give this fleet plenty of chance to take Koi's fleet to the cleaners. Koi went ahead and used recall to jump out, and it looks like... So we'll note here, because Koi lost his homeworld earlier, this is now the new homeworld for Koi. He's established this as his home base. So all the recalls are happening here. All right, so let's go back to normal speed. So it looks like Koi has continued to splinter off a couple of... He's just got a couple of ships here, just again, doing some damage, being annoying. This is, when you're trying to see how to advance your play, this is one of those key elements that separates a good player from a great player. Even though Koi is dealing with this large force, he's still committing just a few ships to pull off and do these little raid attacks. And what often happens is, these guys go completely unopposed. All the ships are so concentrated together with each other that there's no ships to spare for these to stop these little raiding forces. And you can just see here, Koi is just nipping away, just being annoying, taking out production, taking out plans. So as you're trying to grow your play, this is something that is not intuitive for a lot of people. It is difficult to do unless you force yourself to do it. When you get in this mindset of making the biggest fleet possible, you lose out on a lot of these opportunities. So if you want to advance your play, try in a game. Start when you're a game that you're ahead of head. When you're not under pressure. Try balancing two forces. Take a little splinter fleet, see what you can do with it, and then as you get more comfortable with it, you'll be able to do that under pressure when your fleet's under real danger. All right, let's go to our supply board here. We've looked at Koi at 1,500. Phoenix is still gauging about 1,000. No real change in composition there. Brewwing is also about 1,000. Still rocking the heavy Caleb's. And Avi's been able to push up a bit more, mainly focused on the Raiders. So Avi is kind of double downing on the big raid commitment, letting Koi be the mainstay to kind of hold off these forces. Now that said, Koi has 1,500 fleet supply and that level 6 Malice, so can do some damage, but this is still a 2K fleet. Koi has to be extraordinarily careful. His job is going to be to keep dancing, to keep these forces off balance, to keep them distracted, while Avi, who has committed such a heavy investment in raids, is going to be able to just go over here and start ripping infrastructure to pieces. Let's take a look at our text, see if the text advanced. I'll tell you what, I think we may have a near gentleman's agreement here that just says, who needs science? Science is lame. It's for nerds. Fruitwing, of course, being the scholar of this particular game, has managed to get back to T3 Tech and is actually researching a T3 Tech, a monument triumph of science that really cannot be described in words. So I won't bother. All right, Koi, you've got... So Koi continues to use some influence here. Still waiting to see if we ever see these metalloids get put to use. I do wonder if it's worth putting the metalloids on that level 6. I mean, at this point, Koi's just not going to make Titan. I can't see a Titan in any near future. And it just feels like protecting this level 6. And there it is. I apologize. It looks like... Does he actually have 2 of these? No, he just used it. Okay. Koi and I are in sync. We are of one mind. Koi's finally decided, yes, putting the metalloids on his level 6 is going to be worth it. As much as you'd love to put that in the Titan, we're just too long away from that. Koi literally has 0 tech right now. All right. So do we have... So Koi is kind of repped up here. It looks like he is drawing the fleet in. He's going to run away. Again, that's his job. His job is just to keep the fish on the hook. So what is Avi doing with all this wonderful time? So this seems to be part of the issue that Avi is dealing with. He's got a wonderful raiding fleet here, but he's already spent so much time killing so many of the buildings. There isn't actually that much left to kill. But he might get a little pick off here. We have some straggler ships. And I do have a flak burst here, but yeah, I think we're going to be able to bag a few ships here. So this is another reason that raids can be useful. I mean, ultimately, ships have to move through supply lines to connect to the greater fleet. And if you have forces intercepting them, they are often easy pickings. Oh, and Phoenix may have made a mistake here. He decided not to continue with the jump and tried to pull back. There's a lot of damage here. I don't know if he's going to have enough to be able to jump out of here. That said, now there's only 2 Radiants here and a smattering of Defensors. Oh, but he is not executing the jump. Okay, there it goes. This thing's definitely going to cripple, but will it make it out in time? And as you can see, that is Vasari love right there. The Vasari managed to literally jump ahead of you, and I'm pretty sure this this coal is about to go to the glue factory. Oh. All right, looks like Fruitwing has brought a smattering of pirates to bear against these siege craft, but there's two Radiants here, kind of an escort service, are likely going to be able to fend this off. We'll note that Koi's managed to get to 1,500 supply, pretty much outsupplying every other player in the game right now. All right, and it does look like, yep, Fruitwing is having to run back. Avi is continuing the raiding force. Now this might catch some of these siege ships. Might be able to take some of them out, but fencers here are still going to be able to do some work. All right, going back to the big board. Let's see where we stand. We got. Well, our heroes are under threat again as the Aluxians are taking some damage. We had a few Guardians go the wrong way. Those guys are probably going to die. And it looks like Koi, I think, just recalled out. Yeah, he just recalled his force back to his home world, quote unquote. All right, so kind of getting a measure of the leaderboard here. Overall, we can see that Phoenix still has a smattering of worlds and his homeworld, but is overall still really under economic pressure here. And actually, as I say that, looks like they're under threat again. But no, this is a real fleet of pirates. This is likely going to push Koi back. Yeah, I don't think Koi is going to want to fight this one. Koi is kept up with a decent contingent of ships, but does not have a homeworld or plans, but does not have his homeworld. So economically, still pretty hurt. Avi has actually managed to grab quite a number of planets. Has lost his homeworld several times this game, so that still remains a struggle. But economically, Avi's actually doing all right. After getting beat up so much earlier in the game, it looks like he's doing okay. I say that, of course, but the heroes of the game, the Aluxians, are still making sure that Avi pays for his transgressions. Because wanton colonization is not okay. The Aluxians know this, and you should too. Now, it does look like the Aluxian presence has been almost completely pushed back to their homeworld. And Avi is taking the opportunity to kind of take over that northern belt. At this point, the Suneaters are clearly economically in the lead. Looking at the fleet supplies again, we've got Panda with 2,500 between the two, and Suneaters with about 2,300. Ultimately, Avi's just been investing in this raiding fleet, taking the time to kind of build up some eco. He's got a pretty solid eco here building up stuff. I would likely suspect that we'll see Avi start to balloon in fleet supply in pretty short order. All right, looks like Koi is finally going after he's finally decided to retake the homeworld. You see a smattering of siege craft. Two siege craft can do some damage against like some asteroids, but it's not going to do much against this planet. But at the same time, everyone is so distracted. Who knows? Might be able to get a slick little take there. Oh, we do have some action up top here. It looks like, yep, Avi was his sneaky raids were able to take another homeworld back out. as Avi has declared, this is the ultimate Visari experience. We now know that this is the only correct way to play Visari. Everything else is a pale imitation. But in a way, Avi's not wrong. With Visari are a raiding faction, and you can also see, I mean, with the high face speed that they have offering here, and the strong siege crew, they're able to just continue to do work here, while the TC players desperately continue to try to chase them. Taking a look at the logistics for a second, we see Avi is trying to reestablish some extractor eco here, but yeah, really does not have much in the way of production structures. Pretty minor on the plants as well, as you would expect. I mean, these worlds have been taken and retaken so often. Koi's at least gotten a lot of his plants with the Aluxian advisors, so getting a decent income from those. We do see a decent amount of factories built here. So Koi's doing okay, but well, for this late in the game, no one is doing okay. But Phoenix is just focusing on a couple of light and heavy factories each. No Aluxian advisors up here. We do have one pirate base operational, but really would want to get a couple more pirate bases functional there. And Fruit Wing, yeah, very minimal production. In fact, Fruit Wing actually right now has 0 production structures. So what Fruit Wing's got is what Fruit Wing's got until it can establish some more bases. Meanwhile, how are our heroes, the Aluxians, doing? The answer is amazing. Look at their power. Look at their majesty. Look at their shiny ships. Now, why are they so shiny, you ask? Because, well, as everybody knows, the Aluxians are better at everything than everyone else, including the shininess of their ships. Therefore, when people ask, why are Aluxian ships so much shinier than other ships? You simply say, because that's how they roll. And speaking of rolling, the Aluxians, our heroes, are on another quest to stamp out the dark evil of actual players. And yeah, this continues to just be such an issue for the players. No one is able to take the time and resources to take these worlds and then actually fortify them. It's a real shame because there's so much experience to be gained from those Aluxian ships, but you know, in these kind of scrappy games, you just can't always afford to you know, plunk down 10 turrets, let alone a starbase. But I do feel like that continues to be the bane for pretty much all players trying to occupy territory in this kind of little northern patch. At this point, it's almost question mark is it even worth retaking these if you aren't willing to invest the resources to really hold them down. All right, we see a little bit of action in the north here. It looks like Avi's bringing the siege crew up to the top. Fruit Wings had a little chance to reinforce this, so I want to point out this item because I think this is an item that's often overlooked by a lot of players. The Frontier Colony link, you can get that on the G-Skin 2. While it's not the most amazing item, and often other items are better, in these kind of scrappy scenarios when you're dealing with a lot of siege work, this allows you both to get some extra health, but it regenerates your health a lot faster than normal. So if you're building up, let's say, a world with some defenses, by slapping this down, your planet will heal up to its maximum health a lot quicker, which in the course of these kind of back and forth battles can often be 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 hit points, which could be the difference between holding on to a home world and losing it. All right, we do have a smattering of action here as Uh, a bit of pirates with a large-scale siege fleet decide to take on 2 Radiances, and I actually am curious to see what's. Yep, okay. Phoenix answered that question for me. He decides to run away, but oh, here we go. Avi is starting to work with his raiding crew, dealing with some of the stragglers here. This is enough raiders to do some nice damage, even against some of these Harka, or no, these are all pirate corsairs, but still could do some decent damage here. There really isn't much in the way of anti-defensor strength here. I think Avi's going to try and clean this up. Man, those lasers are just beautiful in that shot. I wonder if Avi has the extended, what are they, extended siege? Let's forget what those are called. Yeah, the pinpoint bombardment. I was going to say, these guys are firing from pretty far away. Although I believe Avi still does not have a capital ship after all this time. That is, I mean, long term, that's a problem. Even having one ship would give him a huge amount of XP with all the forces we're dealing with. But I guess he just hasn't managed to get any exotics. Actually, let's take a look at surveys for a second. Yeah, he's mostly surveyed out, although he does have the crystalline world can still give probably at least 1 capital. Yeah, between Avi and Koi, they've been managing to kind of snipe away some of these backyard pirate vessels. Okay, it does look like... Yeah, it does look like Phoenix is starting to build up at least 1 pirate base, and, well, he only has 3 systems, so that's about all he can afford. Oh, here we go. All right, for the first time in a while, we have the possibility of engagement. Look at the Eluxians go. Yes, kill the heathens. And is the Suneaters going to turn and face this fleet, or are they just going to run away? I think they're going to continue to run. That is still a tremendous amount of Calebs. We're looking at, what, about 50? 50 Calebs is just run ramshot on these capital ships. And pretty much Koi's entire plan here revolves around the focus on these capital ships. So the Caleb force really can't, they really can't do anything about it at the moment. The goal, I think, is Avi really wants to try to isolate those ships somehow so that his defensor and raider squads can snipe them out, and then that gives Koi the opportunity to kind of bring in those capitals and start doing some real damage. But until those Calebs are addressed, there isn't much that the Suneaters can do. All right, we do have a little action up here as 3 of the Radiant's vessels, this is kind of the last remnants of Koi's raiding fleet over here, are engaging quite a large amount of pirate forces. This could be a problem. Corsairs have a good amount of anti-capital damage. Advent capital ships are not known for their durability. And I think Koi has kind of forgotten the micro this fleet. He's probably focused on something else. This could be... Oh, I spoke too soon. I apologize. The Radiants are using Animosity, and with 3 of them, what they're doing is they're using Animosity to kind of split the damage between the 3 ships, allowing them all to try to escape. But there's a lot of damage still here. And... I see. Koi has redesignated this world as his homeworld, and he just recalled out. So he was using Animosity just long enough to get the recall off and then pull the damage back. Nice work there from Koi. But it still begs the question, how is this game going to end? And even as we see up top, Koi is even now asking that question is, as much damage as they're doing, and At the end of the day, and Koi still has a very impressive fleet supply, but we see that the Panda team has steadily been building up. Uh, and while Suneaters are doing good ship damage, there comes a point when you got to kill a fleet to win the game. Uh, Speaking of which, let's take a look at. Let's see how the Panda team has been evolving here. Okay, so we see that Phoenix just continues to utilize pirates, continues to build up that fleet supply pretty much through pirates alone, which makes sense. The pirates are a great, efficient unit. Fruit Wing with about 1,200 supply. Still focused primarily on Caleb's, but with also a good amount of pirates themselves. Curious how many pirate bases we have on this side. We don't actually have much. Okay. Oh, okay. This was an opportunity Avi has been looking for. A chance to isolate a core contingent of a force and just concentrate all of his defenders and raiders on it. And it looks like, yeah, we're going to be able to snag at least a few of these. All right, so Avi manages to take out a few of these ships, and we'll see if he chases. I'm actually curious if he's actually going to try to run this down. Meanwhile, let's do just a quick tech check. And yes, the gentleman's agreement of Dark Age barbarian rules still in play. Pretty much no tech from anybody. There's been too many raids, too many buildings are just not survivable in this game, in this run. Our Luxian heroes continue to reign supreme, rampaging over the Heathen's territory. Here we go. I was getting a nice raid here. Still, now one thing to note here, Avi has lost a lot of his siege craft. His focus, let's actually take a look at that. Yeah, Avi has lost the vast majority of his siege craft. So while these raiders could still take out buildings, they can't really do that much against plants anymore. And ultimately, there aren't a lot of buildings left. So Avi's force is going to become weaker and weaker. All right, we see. Oh, it looks like is Koi finally posturing for a real push here? All right, it looks like Avi might actually want to be giving chase to this fleet. You see a large number of Guardians down here. I'm guessing Koi would love to reconnect these two fleets together at some point. I don't know if he is. I don't know if he's just trying to continue to strip north down here, or if he's actually going to try to reconnect for a real run at this. But Avi just made the important note: the stats, excuse me, have been noted that in terms of economy, Avi and Koi have now taken the winning lead in terms of economy. So that puts the momentum in their favor. If they're able to kind of keep this method up, that should, in theory, give them a chance to build up enough fleet to counter. But I think the ball is really in Avi's court at this point. Koi has kind of done what he can do. He's got 1,500 fleet supply. He's got a good force of capital ships, but a lot of Guardians there for healing. It's really Avi is the one with the free fleet supply. And I'm actually still curious why we're not seeing a rise up in fleet supply. Although Avi has taken a beating recently and lost several of these planets, it feels like he's had the chance to kind of build up some forces here. So I wonder if if these like little raids are just getting eaten, if his defenders keep getting killed, and he's having to rebuild them, and that's what's draining his fleet supply. All right, so we are going to go and once again speed up the game a bit until we get to some. And here we go. We might get a little action here, perhaps. Avi's taking a look and he's like, "Hey, I can engage this this fleet," and then sees the rest of the fleet and goes, "Maybe not." Yeah, this is what Avi has really been wanting to do for a while, and yes, he is going to take an opportunity to finally do it. He's really been wanting to try to take out some of these Kalos. He's going to hit the Gardas first just to remove some of that damage, and then he's going to do some pressure. Oh, here comes the missile barrage. That is a big hit. That is a huge hit on Avi. Avi was not able to run, and there they go. Completely vaporized. And with that, Avi just lost 700 fleet supply in the blink of an eye. And suddenly, what was starting to look like a silver lining for the Suneaters, all of a sudden, they are now squarely on the back foot. With that in mind, Koi is still at 1,500. Phoenix and Fruitwing are about 22 between them. And now the Suneaters have a mere 1,600 in total fleet supply. While they do have the economic advantage right now, it's going to take time for that to pan off. And meanwhile, the Panda team is in near order, ready to pounce. So one thing I am curious about. Okay, there is our level 6 Rapture. We got to keep an eye on that. The best way to win, of course, is to fight fire with fire. And if your enemy's going to missile barrage you, then Malice them back is a great way to turn the tables. Will Malice be the key to turn this game back in the favor of the Suneaters? Only time will tell. Meanwhile, we do see, looks like Phoenix is kind of locking up his homeworld over here, dedicating some fleet supply to this corner. I don't know if he's trying to just hold this spot or if he is going to try to join up with his ally. Considering they just took Avi to the cleaners, they may not be that worried about Koi at the moment. Thinking that either one of their fleets is sufficient enough to at least to fend off Koi's current fleet strength. And honestly, they're probably not wrong. All right, once again, we're going to speed the game back up as letting the various factions kind of battle over the graveyard that has become this map. We do see a small little fleet supply from... Okay, it looks like he's just going to try to snip at this world. Okay, we do see a reaction from Phoenix. Let's see if Koi reacts fast enough. Okay, this world's got some health. It may have enough to hold on at least until this world goes down. Koi is going to commit to the world, but that is going to allow Phoenix to engage with him, and some of this fleet might be in trouble. Let's slow this down a little bit and watch this and see how Koi plays this out. So what we may start seeing here, let's see if we... Okay, no animosities have been triggered yet. Koi is just taking this right on the chin. These Corsairs do a large amount of damage, and he is going for the level 5. Oh, the ship... Oh, there is nowhere for this fleet to jump to. I think Koi's in real trouble. He is probably going for a recall. Okay, there it is. Now we're seeing animosities played. He's going to try to use as many animosities here as he can in order to hold this fleet at bay. But it looks like it was not quite enough. Finally, first time in a long time, we do see one of the Raptures finally go down. Koi did manage to finally recall out, but the damage was done. One of his level 5 Raptures was taken out. He really wanted to have that level 5 become another level 6, another tool in the belt. But with that gone, he still has one level 6 Rapture to work with. But the hill continues to get steeper. We're now going to turn it back. We're actually going to double the speed as we let the two forces continue to kind of dance around each other. Taking a quick look at the tech just to see... Okay, it does look like Avi's So Avi's actually finally moving out of Defensor and Raiders, and looks like might be going for some real ships with the Conrack. Also, just taking a quick look at Avi's influence. About the same. He does have one deploy gate, I think, from a previous auction. But one gate by itself is not going to do too much. Still something to keep an eye on, though, for later in the game. All right, it looks like Koi has finally managed to combine his two migrant fleets together to get us the near full fleet supply from him. Koi is back to near 1,500 after that brief scuffle, and we do see the two sides building up here. We may see a confrontation here. We do see another Quarium auction out here. I don't think any team has the tech to really make use of it. Well, I'll be curious to see who actually wins this auction. It looks like Koi takes it with just one influence. I mean, heck, at this point, it's probably just worth selling. Again, I don't think any team is in anywhere, shape, or form got enough tech to make any kind of use of it. All right. We're gonna zip it up just a bit more. Always asking if Titans are in the future. Having not seen this replay yet, I'm gonna say probably not Koi. All right, our faithful heroes, the Aluxians, are finally engaged in a real battle here. All right, continuing to watch the build-up. The key question, I think, is how is Avi looking? Avi is still so low on fleet supply. I'm just wondering. I mean, Avi has a decent number of worlds. Let's take a look at his production. So he just has the one factory. Looks like he's trying to build up another one. Yeah, it looks like he's spent so much of his logistics on economy buildup. He just doesn't have any factories, which is some of the reason his buildup is so slow. But I'm still surprised. I would have expected. I know he lost a huge amount of ships, but I was expecting to see at least a bit more of a buildup at this point. All right, I think Phoenix, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, I think he's declared peace with the Aluxians, so he has given them their proper tribute, their honest due, as any good spacefaring race should do when you meet your superiors. All right, so let's take a look at so Phoenix has finally moved up to the 1,500 range. On the backs of just a ton of pirates. It's all pirates. It's all mercenaries. Can you even call them the TEC at this point? I don't know. And yeah, so this Panda team is basically pirates and caliphs. That's what we're dealing with, and that's pretty effective for us. Koi's continuing. Oh, Koi hasn't really changed his. Yeah, he's still focused on his capitals. I think the only real X factor in the game right now is Avi. What is he going to do? Where is he going to boost his fleet supply? I'll be very curious to see if he tries to get. The problem is just doesn't any slots, but what he is going to do production wise. All right, Koi and Phoenix are kind of dancing around each other here. We're going to speed it up one more time. Koi is still maintaining his 2 key forces. And while early in the game I mentioned how useful that is, I think we're at the point now where both sides have beaten each other up so much. I mean, there's so little infrastructure left. At the end of the day, somebody has got to put a fleet together and start really smashing. Now, something to note here, and let's slow it back down and kind of take a look. We can see that Koi, for the first time, has made an earnest effort to get back to tech. Tier 4 is under the way, and it looks like he is going for the Titan for Eradika. Remember those Quarium they got in the auction earlier? They can afford a Titan off it without any civilian tech. And a Titan could be the key to finally breaking the stalemate. Note, though, that Koi has absolutely 0 research speed. So researching this Titan is going to take some time. Speeding up the game again, let's let the two kind of do the Monty Hall and run past each other a bit. We do see Phoenix start to posture here a bit. I think he's pretty confident with his new 1,500 supply. I'll be curious to see if Phoenix just continues to shark around, kind of like what Koi's doing, and take plants, or if he's actually going to make it a designated hunt to try and start engaging this fleet. Now, the Titan build-up plan begins. Let's see if. So actually, Phoenix is actually finally going exotic factories on the Civ 2 side. Brute Wing is a Dark Age barbarian who does not believe in tech, and Koi is slowly getting that Titan online. But that means that time is a bit on the side of the Suneaters at the moment. It's really in Panda's court to start really trying to push and make some pressure happen. One thing that we're not seeing, and it can be very hard to do again when you're in such a crunch situation, but we talked about that human indoctrination planet item earlier. And in these situations, when your goal is to start hunting down the Advent forces, speed is the key. The TEC is faster than the Advent when you factor in things like the speed bonus of human doctrine. All right. We see, and we're going to slow this down now as we see a real engagement here. We have, okay, we have an early use. We have an early use of Armistice, but I do not know if he was able to cast that before Malice was used. Malice may still be useful in the tank. We got to see what, we're going to keep an eye on that and watch as the Armistice ends if Malice is still online. All right, the TC is running. And see what I was talking about earlier. You really need to be careful of running the Aachen ahead of the rest of the fleet. Now, ultimately, it doesn't look like Phoenix took much issue from that. More, his paint was scraped a bit. But you really do have to be careful. If your Aachen leaves too soon, Koi had a chance there to have really kicked in and done some damage on Phoenix. That's one of those mistakes that at this point in the game literally could win you the entire game. All right, Koi is really our timer at this point, and we see the Eradika is slowly tipping towards completion, or at least the tech. We still haven't even started the Titan production. Meanwhile, Brute Wing is just kind of hanging out. Really, I think the goal is just to kind of hold these areas and maybe try to finally hold off these Aluxians, letting his partner roam around the map and do damage. Avi is working on. So interesting. Avi had researched Conrack tech, but it looks like he is still spending fleet supply and defensors. So we're seeing the same comp from Avi, and still a slow build up. So I think ultimately this game is going to come down to, can Koi get that Titan online, and can he leverage it for a victory before Panda is able to join forces and crush them. All right, we are going back to double speed. And we have another possible decent engagement here. The two forces aim to clash again, but I don't think Koi is up for a battle on this one. He does have the level 6. Mouse is online. We'll see if he decides to. Yep, it looks like he might stay and fight this one, so we're going to slow it down. Let's take a look and really enjoy the battle. All right, Mouse is online. How about Armistice? Is not. Armistice is offline right now. It is on cooldown. This could be a break that Koi was looking for. Let's see if he decides to use it. Koi has a large amount of capitals here. He has a great selection of Guardians. Nothing he has here, and tons of Radiances. Nothing he has is going to die quickly in this fight. Malice has been activated. All of these ships are now under the effects of Malice, but Koi is not really leveraging it. He does not. His fleet is engaged with the fights in the middle, and these have Vertigo. These do not have Malice. This is a mistake. He is losing all of this Malice damage. He is not being able to take. Meanwhile, there goes the Rapture. It is being targeted, but remember that Metalloids. He has got a lot of armor on this thing. It's got a lot of tankiness, and though it's probably going to get crippled, it is likely going to survive this bout. Well, it is if Koi needs to run this fleet, though. He needs to run this ship really quickly. Oh my goodness, Koi, you need to run this ship. That was a close one. All right, moving back into the action. Okay, now it is up. Now we have. Keep in mind, the missile barrage is still an active factor here. Missile barrage has not been used. Meanwhile, we see Koi's capitals are starting into beating for 50 Calypses. Koi does not really have any ships. And there it is. There's the missile barrage heading out. Koi cannot run from this. None of his ships are agile enough to run. But he has something better. He has the power of space-time folding. And with recall, was able to get out of there. But keep in mind, he has left his level 6 behind. And if he is not careful, this might get targeted. All right, as we give a moment to let the action settle, you can see that Fruitwing is finally joining his partner. Fruitwing has now got up to about 1150 and is starting to increase fleet supply as well. Koi, after that engagement, still looking pretty strong. Ultimately did not wind up taking a huge amount of damage from that engagement. All right, so it looks like Koi has managed. He has an Erratica building. Let's see where that Erratica is being built at. Back on the old homeworld. All right, the Erratica is at 43 and climbing. All right, we are once again going to go into double speed here. Let's keep a watch on that Titan. Meanwhile, where is Avi in all this? I want to check. Yeah, I'm just not sure what is Zabi doing. Is he's got production, he's got supply, he's got tons of resources. Where is the production? I'm just not seeing any production from Robbie. I just don't get it. No, I mean he does have some. Okay, there we go. Now we're starting to see some actual fleet supply pushing up there. All right, Titan. Oh, oh! Finally, we have Koi has actually pushed the engagement. We do have the missile barrage. We do have the Malice. Let's see what wins the day. Missile barrage is online. It is active. All right, as the two fleets continue to engage, do we have the Kalos? We do have the large Caleb element here, but it looks like Fruit Wing has decided not to take this engagement, is decided to push past it. Koi is gathering the remaining remnants of his scattered fleet and putting together one big punch. Looks like Avi is doing some cleanup on the far right side here, and we do see the Erratic Titan. It is low level though. There's really there's not too much left in the game that actually can level it other than a direct force. We can see that he's starting to get. He does have the military observers. Decided to go for purification and of course caustic burst. I've mentioned before how strong the malice can be, and the ultimate expression of that is malice plus the caustic burst. The Titan's caustic burst is a large-scale area damage, and because malice magnifies all attacks and makes everything splash, a attack that is already splash gets multiplied hundreds of times over and can often wipe entire fleets. So that may be the secret weapon that Koi is looking to try and close this fleet out. Because as good as Koi is and as strong as his fleet on paper looks, he's dealing with two strong fleets, and his partner really does not have the forces to help him. So if he is going to win, if he is going to push this game, it is going to be on the backs of some sneaky shenanigans. All right, here we go again. Let's watch the Rapture. Let's look for the missile barrage. All right, Malice is online. Malice has been activated. Nope, I thought it was. There's Malice. Malice has been activated. All these ships are now taking the splash. Are the Calebs? Yes. The key is the Calebs. He really wants to take these Calebs out to prevent all this critical damage against his fleet. All right, Mars Online. Missile barrage is in the air. Lots of ships to take damage of it. But all these ships are pretty tanky. This missile barrage is going to do damage, but it may not kill as much as you might think at first glance. It's going to do real damage, but at the same time, this Mars is under heavy fire, and if it does not, this Mars needs to get the heck out of Dodge. As soon as this missile barrage finishes, it needs to turn around and run. But as we almost spoke too soon, as the missile barrage finishes, the Phoenix comes in with his own fleet, and at the end of the day, Koi makes it out with most of his ships intact, while Fruit Wing lost a tremendous amount of forces. And as we can see, his Caleb numbers have dropped from 50 to near 17. The Malice has done its job, and it looks like that is enough for Panda. One good Malice was all it took, with a Titan now online, bringing extra damage. the Panda team has decided that is simply too much. And with it, the first game, a hugely long game in this series, a very low tech brawl game, the first of our best of three, goes to the Suneaters. Again, my name is Karaslegacy. Thank you very much for watching this, and tune in again for game two of this best of three series. Take care.